And good morning, everyone. We'll take you live back to the scene now. There's Jeff Ealing, still on the scene where they caught a man wanted in at least 3 murders, what some describe as a serial murder overnight. Jose Rodriguez is his name. That's North Eldridge Parkway at Wortham Landing, just north of Highway 290. The crime scene tape still up this morning.
Yeah, and this is where a police chase ended, and our own Jeff Ealing and his photographer Jesus were actually involved, or at least you saw that police chase. We've been watching your video, your cell phone video, all morning. It's just incredible to watch, Jeff.
Yeah, and that was just one of the 3 times that the suspect passed by our location where we were standing. Again, that is the suspect's vehicle. The suspect has been taken away from here. He's going to be taken into questioning at the Harris County Sheriff's Office and then presumably be taken off to jail. Authorities have not been able to start processing this car yet to get any kind of evidence from it or not. They have just left it alone from where it is right now. But yeah, that chase, we were on Foxborough this morning, and that is near the location of where the very first home invasion that has been credited to the suspect, Jose Rodriguez, took place. And while we were standing there, apparently the car went right past us, and then a sheriff's deputy car went right past us, and then after that another one went right past us. And then at that point we said, you know what, we better get in the truck and drive down there. So by the time we got to where I guess the initial interaction with law enforcement was, a chase was on at that point. So during that chase, which went up and down North Eldridge, at one point it went down Fallbrook and then back towards North Eldridge and then back up North Eldridge to Cypresswood, throughout some neighborhoods, and then coming back this way and eventually ending on Wortham Landing. But throughout that chase, we were sort of in the back of law enforcement, the line of law enforcement cars chasing this suspect. And what we ended up seeing was this suspect had made U-turns or had managed to go down cul-de-sacs or whatever and coming back the other way towards us as we were at intersections across the street. As there were one was on a divided highway, one we were at a traffic light, and at all 3 of those times, the suspect Jose Rodriguez passed by us in that gray Nissan. You could see, we were so close we could see his face. He looked straight at us, and at this point, authorities are trying to figure out exactly why this guy would come back to this area. But we can tell you that there were already calls being made. The Sheriff's Department was already on Foxborough where we were doing our live report this morning. The Sheriff's Department had been called to that neighborhood because a person had seen someone who looked suspicious walking through the neighborhood. And you don't think at that time that the suspect is going to be back in the same neighborhood at the same place where the initial home invasion took place. But that is ultimately what we believe happened, because the gray Nissan drove right past our live location and then again followed by a couple of sheriff's deputies, and then the chase started. Now, I do have an update on how this chase came to an end. I want to show you some live pictures if we can back here at the corner of Wortham Landing in North Eldridge. You can see the gray Nissan is parked right in front of us, with just to the left of that gray Nissan there are 2 Harris County Sheriff's deputies' cars blocking that suspect vehicle from making either a left or a right onto North Eldridge from Wortham Landing. And authorities tell us that the suspect, once he got to this location and those sheriff's deputies were already blocking this intersection, that the suspect stopped, pulled over, and the chase came to an end peacefully at that point. The suspect's only move at that point would have been to run away, to get out of his car and flee on foot. Apparently, she was choosing not to do that. The chase coming to a peaceful end right here at the corner of North Eldridge and Wortham Landing. But to be able to have seen him in such close proximity during this police chase, it was just an astounding moment for us, because this typically is not the kind of thing that we are a part of. Typically, we come to police chases after they have come to an end, but not this time. Not this time, guys.
And I understand, is the sheriff on his way out there, Jeff?
That is exactly correct. We spoke with the PIO just a few moments ago, Tom. He said that the sheriff, Ed Gonzalez, is on his way out here, sort of fighting some traffic to get over here to the northwest side. But he is coming, and we believe that it is going to be Sheriff Ed Gonzalez that gives us a debrief on exactly what transpired in the moments leading up to this chase, and during the chase, and of course in the moments leading to the end of the chase. And as we saw, we were live on air just a few moments ago when the suspect, Jose Rodriguez, in the back of a Harris County Sheriff's Deputies Patrol car was taken from here. He's going to be questioned at a facility at the Sheriff's Department and then taken presumably off to jail at that point, guys.
Jeff, all of this happening in the very same neighborhood where one of the first incidents happened. You were actually there this morning reporting on that. Oh, here's a video here. We want to stop and talk about this. This is the video of that suspect being led away. You can't see it, Jeff, but we're showing the moment that Jesus, our photographer, captured the video of the suspect being led away in that Harris County Sheriff's Office patrol car, showing it yet again here. You were on scene then.
Yeah, I was standing right by Jesus when that was going on. We could, again, clearly see in the back of the patrol car, clearly make out from our distance that yes, this does indeed look to us like the suspect. But again, by now we have obviously had that confirmed many times over that this suspect is definitely in custody. And I got to tell you, as we've said all morning long, the Harris County Sheriff's Department has been responding to all of the calls, the multiple calls that have come in over the last 24 hours, 48 hours about people who have said that they thought they might have seen this suspect. And again, we spoke with someone who showed us video from a home camera, from a home security camera that appeared to be the suspect as well. And that was from Tuesday of last week. Didn't realize that he had captured the suspect on camera until he saw the mugshot, and he had gotten so close to the suspect walking through his neighborhood that as soon as he saw the mugshot, that neighbor told us that was him. It was no doubt in his mind this was the suspect that they were talking about. So yeah, lots of folks have been asked to go check their home security cameras, and they have been doing just that. And they have been providing leads to the Sheriff's Department. But the biggest lead coming from the Sheriff's Department around 6 o'clock this morning, when someone called into the Sheriff's office not too far from the Foxborough Street to tell us that to tell the Sheriff's Department that they had seen someone matching the description of the suspect, and that Sheriff's Department deputies were so close, they were already on scene, they were so very close that they were starting to canvass the neighborhood. And now it leads to believe that Sheriff Ed Gonzalez has now arrived here on the scene. So hopefully we'll be able, I believe that is the sheriff there. We'll be able to get a bit of an update from him. But yeah, the deputies were already in place. The Sheriff's Department doing an incredible job staffing up the Sheriff's Department deputies to have them in place in this area to respond to any of these calls as they came in. And to think that this suspect not only came back to this area in a vehicle that is wanted in connection with a shooting that ended up in a murder at a Mattress One store, not only to be in that car, but to be on the same street that where a home invasion had taken place days earlier, that he is the prime suspect in. It's an incredible thing, and it's certainly good that the Sheriff's Department had already pre-positioned so many of its employees out here at this location, because as soon as that chase started, it was within moments that there were several Harris County Sheriff's deputies involved in that pursuit. And it's a good thing they did, because it seemed to us as this chase was going on that the suspect was not going to stop on his own. Eventually that's only happened because the Sheriff's Department had enough vehicles in place to block the street and to block the suspect's path from getting down Wortham Landing Drive and turning either onto Eldridge Parkway, either north or south. So once that suspect appeared to have nowhere to go, that is when deputies, took him into custody. And of course, there were obviously cars behind him as well, sort of they boxed him in, they blocked him in. The entire street was blocked off because there were so many sheriff's deputies' cars out here.
There's the sheriff behind you, Jeff, congratulating some of his officers and deputies for a job well done this morning. And maybe you can find out from the sheriff more about what this guy's connection to the neighborhood was. I'm curious as to whether he had relatives in and around the area. Of course, we've talked about his criminal history.
Someone has told us, someone has told us, and we're going to have to get this confirmed. And again, we give you information that we haven't got confirmed. We want to make sure that people know that this is not confirmed information at this point. But what we have been told by someone is that it is entirely possible that he was paroled to this area. Either there was an apartment, or as you mentioned, maybe a relative or someone where he could have a residence, and that his parole location was not far from indeed where we are standing right now. Don't know exactly where that is, and it's again a piece of information that we would have to get confirmed. But if that is the case, then you would presume that he would have some familiarity with the streets in this area, with the neighborhoods in this area. In like many communities throughout the Houston area, this is a very quiet subdivision. These are one of those places that people would say, oh, nothing ever bad happens around here. Sidewalks, manicured lawns, you name it. When you think of a quiet, calm neighborhood, this is the picture-perfect example of that. And there are many of these neighborhoods around here, and throughout the morning, at least for about 45 minutes or so, this was the scene of a very, very intense police chase as authorities are trying to bring this suspect into custody.
Right. Well, let's find out from the sheriff what kind of connection he had to the neighborhood. There's Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, who just arrived on the scene this morning. We've told you about his long criminal history. He's a registered sex offender. He's convicted of burglary. He's convicted of sexual abuse, breaking and entering, so trespassing, I do believe, in the past. Just paroled last September, but we're still trying to figure out what his connection to that whole area was. As Jeff said, it may have been as simple as he was paroled and then got an apartment in the area or had some relatives in that area. Sam?
The sheriff may be coming for that press conference now, Jeff, or maybe he's there to congratulate the rest of his deputies.
But
take
that's
us
what's going
back.
on.
Yeah. But take us back to the moment, Jeff, where so many people have been talking about this morning. And by the way, so many people sharing your video, the short clip of that police chase that you saw firsthand, and when you say you saw the suspect face to face. But take us back to the moment where you and your photographer, Jesus, were actually in the neighborhood, and you say a sheriff's deputy came up to you guys and asked you a question.
Yes. Yeah, so that sheriff's deputy pulled up to our location and asked us if we had seen someone walking through the neighborhood who matched the description of the suspect. And, you know, at that hour, our minds weren't really thinking that this person would be in the neighborhood, and we were incredulous. Like, no, are you joking? And he said, no, he wasn't joking. He was absolutely serious that someone had called him and said, called the sheriff's department and reported a suspicious person in the neighborhood that fit the description of this murder suspect. And here you see Sheriff Ed Gonzalez approaching our microphones to give us a brief, to give us an update on exactly what took place out here. It's going to take just a couple of seconds for him to get started, but let's turn it over to Ed Gonzalez now.
Morning, sir. 1 second, please.
We got some of the media out here getting their microphones in place. It's going to be just a couple more seconds. But yes, people were calling the sheriff's department, reporting anyone who seemed suspicious, and that is exactly what started all of this going on out here, guys.
We're ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good morning. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez. This morning at approximately 7 a.m., Jose Gilberto Rodriguez was taken into custody. Initially, at about 6:13 this morning, once again, an alert citizen called in a suspicious vehicle call. Our deputy responded very quickly, arrived a couple minutes after, and began searching the neighborhood. We're out here in the Cypress area, so it's possible that he was casing the neighborhood in search of his next victim. So thanks to the alert work of that citizen and swift action, we were able to get involved. The deputy began searching the neighborhood and came upon the vehicle that we had presented to the media, and he was still in that same Nissan Sentra, and he spotted him around Tower Oaks and Jones. A brief pursuit began at that point that lasted about 14 minutes, and about, again, 6:56 this morning, he was taken into custody after that brief vehicle pursuit at the 12,100 block of Wortham Lane, which is here in North Eldridge Parkway, at Fallbrook. It's been a long night. North Eldridge Parkway in Fallbrook. And that's where Deputy Reyes with the Harris County Sheriff's Office and other Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies quickly were able to take him into custody without incident at that point. There is a pistol inside the vehicle. Obviously, the vehicle will be processed, and there's still a lot of loose ends that need to be tightened up. But again, I want to just commend the hard work of the Harris County Sheriff's Office homicide investigators that have been working around the clock on this. To all our law enforcement partners, Chief Acevedo and the Houston Police Department that have also been investigating murders, and we've had a unified command on this, and so everybody was out on the ground searching countywide, and so we're very relieved. Want to thank actually all the partners. DPS has also been out here helping us, and everyone else. And so again, once again, the faith that we have in Texas law enforcement to get the job done. And again, very proud of our Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies, Deputy Reyes this morning in particular, with his teammates that made the traffic stop that ultimately apprehended him. So we're very relieved this morning because, again, we feel that he was possibly casing the area. Once again, we're out here in the Cypress-Cyfair area, which he was known to frequent. And so it was possible that he was looking to score his next victim. And so we're very relieved and again very thankful to the citizens of Harris County for calling in, being diligent, and reporting this to us so that we could take action. So any questions?
Sure, we already had the sheriff's deputies in place in this area.
Specifically waiting for him to come back to this area.
Correct. We've been all across the county, but we knew that this was one of the areas that he had targeted before, obviously the proximity to other victims. And so we've been out in high alert out here. All our deputies everybody's been working around the clock on this. We all did, our homicide investigators, everyone has been on the job around the clock. And so very thankful again to HPD, everybody that's out here, our deputies, our patrol deputies that are on the ground all the time and are on the spot, Johnny on the spot, so they got the job done.
You were also here because his parents live in the area?
Yeah, they do live in the area. So again, he's been known to frequent this area, either this or the East Tex corridor. So those were areas of concentration for us. But of course, we didn't want to get tunnel vision and limit it only to these areas. So we were spread all throughout the region.
Is this kind of surprising? Someone who actually saw him in the car says he was just driving like a normal passerby.
It's not surprising because, again, thanks to all the media's help and everybody and our efforts to get the message out, I think everybody was on high alert. A lot of concerns out there, and rightfully so. So people called it in, and that's what we ask. If you see something suspicious, no matter how minimal it may be, call it in. In this case, it really paid off, and we're able to get on him very quickly, and we're glad it ended without incident. And again, a collective sigh of relief and for everybody.
Sheriff, is he cooperating?
It's still early in the investigation. That's what we're going to figure out. We'd like to find out what the motive was or the underlying motives were in this crime spree that occurred. So we'll see what information we could
After
glean.
releasing that picture yesterday, did you all get a lot more calls and tips, or just people scared that he might have already been in their area?
We did receive a high number of calls, and we were vetting them all. We worked collaboratively with the Houston Police Department on it. Again, we had a unified command, so we were screening those calls and trying to respond in real time to them. Some were maybe previous hours, long, but we were diligent throughout the night following up on phone calls.